So, will you talk about what you told me, what you wanted to do with Ozzy's Facebook donation fund when he was slowly dying, and I had to force feed him every day and get some water down him because he was incapable, and he began to be paralyzed slowly more and more to the point where he couldn't even do that for himself.
He wanted to take the money that would be used for the vet and for special foods for Ozzy. He wanted to take that and pay bills.
Right, so he never looked at him, he never paid him any attention, he didn't do anything, he never said, "Oh, I'm sorry your cat's dying," or anything. He never consoled us, he never did anything empathetic, did he?
No, he never offered any consolation.
And I find it I find it just hilarious that when his son's dog Diamond was dying, he was crying, and he expected us to console him about his son's pet dying when he never even looked Ozzy in the eye. He just walked right past him like he wasn't even there, even when I was holding him and force feeding him.
I know, he's two-faced, to be sure.
Like, that's like psychopathic, like a sociopathic at the very least. Like, I mean, how he could try to take donation funds from a dying cat. Like, that's literally like sociopathic. And he expected us to console him, and he was, crying. Oh, he'd be like, "Oh, his dog's dying," and this and that, and he expected us, to be there for him when he was never there for us, not once, emotionally or otherwise. And he could have helped raise the money for Ozzy, but he didn't try, he didn't care, he didn't do anything.
That's true.
I mean, just think about what kind of a person does something like that. Like, that is just inhuman. It's just inhuman. And on top of that, he feeds his cat sandwiches, like full-on actual whole sandwiches, and like chicken and all these processed foods, and now she's so fucking overweight. Like, she is so overweight.
And it's also bad for her health.
Well, yeah, that's where I'm going with this. I mean, sandwiches aren't in a carnivore's natural diet. Like, cats are obligatory carnivores. Like, they're supposed to eat raw food. That the best diet for them is raw food. Cat food is actually bad for them. But, I mean, not everyone can afford, a raw food diet for their feline or dogs. But, I mean, to feed her sandwiches and stuff like that. And on top of that, when she's in heat, she always comes to me. And whenever she tries to go to his office, and I let her in there, he'll be seen moments later picking her up and then, tossing her out so he doesn't have to deal with her. So he forces us to take care of her and deal with her when she's in heat, and he doesn't give a about her or does anything. He doesn't pay attention to her or anything.
I guess in his own way he cares about her, but he just doesn't have the ability to show it.
That's psychopathy. That's literally the definition of psychopathy. Like, emotionless. Like, he does all these things to try to do what a normal human being is supposed to be, like empathetic, and he's just so incapable of it. So I just wanted to go on record with this. There'll probably be more of these diary journal entries to come. because he's painted himself to everyone that he's this perfect, he's this pinnacle of, a human being, and, he takes care of his animals, and he takes care of this and this and that, but, he's abusive, and then he turns that back around. He's like, what about everything I've done for you guys? Like, as somehow that justifies everything he's done. Like, that gives him the right to be abusive,
Yeah. I know, but there's not anything we can do about it. We'll just try to get through it.